I understand that before you could set goals, there are some values you must have identified.
Mm.
So what are the value? Because despite my goal is to raise 100 youth and teenagers in professionally, spiritually, and in their personal growth, just 1,000. Some people are not seeing goals in this light. Some people are not seeing goals in this light. Some people are not seeing goals in the level of impact. So what are the values that you identify? What are the guiding principles for your own life? Over to you, sir.
All right. I feel that is a very personal question because it will have to take me back to how I actually started. Because you see, values, personal values are the things we inculcate early in our lives. Because, and especially if you are listening to me, if you're a teenager or you just enter into the adulthood, I would love you to know that if there's anything you have to be intentional about cultivating, is your own personal values. What are the things that are most important to you? What are the things that you give priority to? What are the things that guide your activities, your what are the things you are intentional about? What are the things you want to be known with? What are the things you want to be identified with? For me, if there's anything that is more important to me, it's number one, becoming all that God has created me to become. It's a value for me, it's a drive for me. I want to live a life that people can actually say, this guy actually did all that God has called him to do. And when I get to heaven, I want God to look at me and say, son, man, you did the exact thing I would have loved you to do on earth. Right. So that is my drive. That is my that is my value. That is the thing that actually moved me. This is why I wake up in the morning. This is why I sleep at night. This is why I eat. This is why I fast. This is why I pray. This is why I do every other thing I do. These are the things that guide the books I read. These are the things that guide the school I'm going back to, because I need to ensure that in my lifetime I achieve all the goal and the vision that God has placed in my heart as a person. Right? So this is the most important thing that drives me. And also, I am driven, and then with compassion for people. Right? I remember there was a time before we started the church. I I think I was driving to a place, and then all of a sudden I became overwhelmed, seeing Nigerians suffering, struggling, trying to meet ends meet and all sort of things. I remember God speaking to me at that moment and said, son, this is what I have called you to do. Go and deliver my people from struggles. Wow, that was outstanding for me. And that moment I caught the vision to take people out of poverty, out of struggle. I used to tell people that one of my vision in life is to end poverty. And I'm going to do that by training people to be wealthy, to have the money so that we can actually put to shame poverty, right? So that's compassion for people that struggle to meet ends, to meet ends, because I know that your provision is attached to the vision that God has given to you. Your supply is attached to the purpose that God has given to you. So if everybody walks in the direction of the things that God has placed in their heart, they would surely have enough to meet their needs. Because truly, what defines two persons, what separates two persons, it is the uniqueness in purpose, uniqueness in the solution that they bring to the world. And that's what also determine the values when it comes to monetary values that goes to them. So we can see for you now, Pastor John, what determines your monetary value are the solutions you are providing to us. So people read your books, people listen to your message, people listen to your podcast, and then you grow in the numbers, and you start earning from there. So if we can empower people in destiny, in purpose, if we can empower them, you see that struggle, lack will surely reduce in our world. And that is a drive for me, the compassion. And especially for those that are in Africa, the third world nation in general. I believe I have an assignment to reach to people in Cuba, sorry, people in Madagascar, in Mauritius, in Mauritania, and every places where poverty, and especially my nation now is the #1 nation, the poorest nation in the world right now, with over 140 million that are multidimensionally poor. So we've got a job to do. We've got a job to do. The compassion drives me. When I look at the world, when I look at people, I feel, my God, these people, what they just need is the wisdom, is this thing that can actually liberate them. And that's what, those are the values that drive me. Number one, to become what that God has created me to become. Number two, compassion.